Hello, welcome back to Actual Play. Twilight Throne and the Houses of Ruin. I don't know why I'm using my radio narrator voice. We are back. We are planning a scheme. This scheme has many complex promises and details and nuances and complications. I'm sure it'll be delightful. Uh, yeah, Ray, what do we do from here?
Yeah, so the most important thing we're going to start with everyone tell me what they are wearing because it's a party, right? And so when you come in, I want you to tell me like what you're wearing, if you have your plus one aside from your psycho pump that the House of Blood and Bone so generously provided for you. But yeah. So I think I want to start with. I feel like we have to save Kavar for last, right? Because this is your house, this
Ooh,
is your estate,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So you can't show up before the guests, right? That's
Definitely
just
not.
not how
Of
Right.
it's
course
done.
not.
So we'll save
Say.
Kavar for last. Yeah, yeah. Um, so I think it has to be. I feel like I have to start with House of Blood and Bone because you hardly go out. You hardly go to these parties,
Right.
right? So it's going to be a big deal. But let me start. I'll describe a little bit what the and of course like Connie will help me because this is your estate and your party, right? Um, but what I'm imagining right now is all of this like gilded gold, right? And then like there's this huge vaulted ceiling because that's where our aerialist, situation is happening, playing out the battle. So like the aerialists are like all like deathly still for now, like no one is moving, waiting for the guests to arrive. But they're about to start to make sure that everyone stays focused and these loose lips don't get distracted. Um, but yeah, like what else do we see, like Connie of the House of Sword and Halo here as we welcome our guests?
It is absolutely decked out. Like all the gates, all of like the marble walls surrounding this sprawling estate in the clouds are just glowing. The clouds themselves, which is what this palace is set upon, are also glowing. They're flickering different colors like iridescent thunder, right? Just shimmering through the depths of the mist. And as we push past these massive, broken, open gilded gates, we see like beautifully manicured, just acres and acres of lush emerald green foliage in every direction, wild flowers, and curated orchids peppering the lushness with little explosions of spurts of color. There are also tall buildings, temple complexes, courtyards made of like wrought iron and stone and marble and horn, and some materials that don't even exist on Earth that just exist in the clouds, right? There's like magic everywhere. We see like suspended globules of like thick spheres of water with prismatic fish shimmering through it, right? Magical fish from this existence and other existences as well. Because Kavar, due to her connection to the City of Doors, has procured all the fancy things here, right? Not just of
Nice.
this reality, but other realities as well, right? We see like a portion of the estate has a shaft of sunlight cutting through it, but every time you sort of turn its head, it's sort of like a holographic image. The shaft sort of like shifts, and you see like different realities bleeding through to invite guests from like other timelines in here so they can also watch, sort of like a Zoom call situation with these beams of light coming in. And we see faces of people that have never existed here shimmering as they come to watch the festivities. And there are just like, I think the aerialists are like the crown jewel of the show that's happening in like the main, I want to say, let's call it a coliseum at the center of the estate, where there's like a big show that's supposed to happen. And probably Chatsedonia has to give a speech or something, to distract everyone as Blood and Bone gets murked. But there's also just like flying paper puppets and like animals, magical beasts of all kinds just prancing around. I think that's it.
I love it. I love it. And I also just want to add, like, I think there are these huge statues, like several stories high, of each of the gods that were destroyed by the House of
Yes.
Sword and Halo, right? So these cracked
Yeah.
statues, like claw marks and everything. Like some of the statues have been bleeding all these like thousands of years, just pouring gold, blood out of the cracks, right? And so
100%. Ooh. I think it could be really cool if each different part of this place used to be populated by a different god that's now dead. So if we were thinking like
Ooh.
the gods of Mount Olympus, then there would be like a blacked out forge where Vulcan used to, make stuff, but like it's now like abandoned and has been repurposed into like a pleasure palace or something.
Oh,
So like there
yeah,
are these
yeah,
like
yeah.
beautiful estates that look very distinct that have been completely like hollowed out and settled into for other
Yeah,
purposes.
blasphemy. I love it. Perfection,
So
as the
good.
gods deserve. Yeah, very good, very good. Right. And so I think like what happens is Eloise, as like your entourage arrives, as the House of Blood and Bone arrives, like the former gods of death, right? Their statues start to move towards the entrance, reaching out, right? There's
Nice.
one in particular that's like skeletal holding on to, I think like they have these huge moth wings, right? This is how they were the god of death once, like representing the moth, a creature associated with death. So what do we see with the House of Blood and Bone Rise? But more importantly, we're focusing on you, Eloise, right?
All
So
right.
you are the
Well, I will give
yeah.
some details about the house, and then bring it to me. So when the house arrives, you hear these barks and howls, but not menacing howls, like playful howls of all of these like big fluffy bulldogs, and they all have these. They're just these big, they're just these big boys, and they all have these golden collars that don't have a leash on them. Well, they do, but it's invisible, right? And there's just hundreds of them. They just sort of like run up and they like sniff at everyone. And these are the psychopomps of death, right? That they like just come and they're adorable, and everyone's like just huge little puppy babies. But they kind of sit and they look like pleasantly, and they're happy to be pet and everything like that. But but I mean, if anyone stares in their eyes too long, you could just it's like staring into the abyss. Like they look really pleasant at first, but there is something very unsettling about looking at them for too long. But they kind of like run in, like I'm free into the pen. Like if you had a dog, I'm not channeling all my own antsy dog right now. If you had a dog that's like wrapped up in forever and like suddenly like run around in these open fields, they're like running around. I'm sure there's at least one funny scene of like one of them peeing on a statue, but for the most part they're very well behaved.
Yeah.
Right. They're not making messes or anything like that. And some of them have more elaborate collars because they're like owned by certain hound master, or but for various different hound masters, so their marks can be seen, but like most people wouldn't be paying attention to those sorts of details. A black velvet carpet begins unrolling, and it is as it unrolls, like the golden lace is like moving through it, like it wasn't there originally, but like this animate gold lace kind of rolls through as various like officiants of the House of Blood and Bone appear, and but the moment they step off of it, like the moment they're out of like what is considered the domain of the House of Blood and Bone, you see them begin to decay in little bits. Like the guests when they come off, like a finger bone falls off, or somebody starts bleeding and they have to like wrap it up or whatnot. Like outside of their domain, they're not dying, but they're revealing more of their true undead selves. And some of their candle lights don't flicker quite as bright because the glow of this radiant place is so bright it washes them out. I won't go on more about them, but there's lots of them, and they feel diminished in this place. Eloise has her her scepter is being held by a standard bearer, so she has somebody like holding her scepter, so her hands are free, and she's dressed. Her super ridiculous pauldrons that make no sense at all are like sticking out super far, and because she's repping the House of Blood and Bone, they are covered in all these golden candles, right? Like this is not her normal attire, but because like this is her role, like she has to do it. So she has 3 candles on each shoulder, which is super fucking ridiculous. And then on her tiara, there's 3 points that stick out, and on each of at the base of each of those points is another candle. Her attire, because she's repping the house, is all black and gold. But there's like a little like red velvet that's just barely visible underneath the collar from the House of Ash and Flame. A little house item that, like, maybe if you look at just the right angle, you could see this color. And of course, the child is beside her. Her child walks just in front of her and is not covered. You know, Eloise has failed, but his face is visible, and he looks like he's full of wonder and excitement. This is the first time he's seen some of these things, and like he's taking it in, and he's like a, you know, he keeps whispering to her all like, "Oh, did you see that?" And she nods. "Oh yes, I saw that." So yeah, is that good? Any other details am I missing?
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think like as you come in, right, you can see that you're greeted by a host of lesser angels that arrive, right? And they're all wrapped in like different silks and different spoils from the war against the gods from long ago. And in one voice, they all chorus like, "Ho, herald, the arrival of the house of blood and bone, honored guests to the house of sword and halo. May blood runneth, may bone crack and splinter. You are welcome here in heaven of our own making." And so as you come in, I think we're gonna like shift towards the House of Glass and Clay, right? So once again, you are the star, Ida. So you know, we can just just have a little bit of everybody else, but I want you.
Yeah, I don't think the House of Glass and Clay enters en masse. I think as you look around, you see more and more of us, like, but it's not obvious where we came from. We're just suddenly there. But Ada's wearing this a dress with this shoulder capelet kind of thing. Here, I got a lovely picture of it. It's blue and teal and beaded, and kind of a burnt out kind of velvety texture with the beads, and the cape sleeves just kind of drape down her arms.
Gorgeous.
It's really good for concealing things, even though it looks like it wouldn't. She has some things hidden, and then her customary headdress that she really only wears on ceremonial occasions is firmly atop her head, sparkling in the glittering lights that shine from above.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, and I think like as you enter like one by one, as you said, like very subtly, there's a moment on the other side where Mother Father, the Night Conqueror herself, like appears with the wings. We acknowledge the revival of the House of Glass and Clay. May you be kind to us as you write of our histories and rewrite them for the ages to come. Right. And his voice reverberates all throughout heaven. Right. And I think, of course, so what happens is Mother Father says, and of course, the children, the heirs of Sword and Halo. Like, and so I think we're going to start with Kavar, right? Like, so what does it look like when you arrive?
Kavar is actually, I think, surprisingly dressed down. I will drop a ref. I think she strides out and her wings are sort of like tucked down and like back, and she's got this like black tunic on that's sort of like unbuttoned like down to like reveal, I think she's binding today. So you can see some wraps sort of like on their torso, and their hair is for once schooled up, I think, in like a kind of a low hanging bun, and like their bangs are sort of raked up and back and gelled to like stay stiff and backward. You can see their halo, as always, like piercing into their forehead, dribbling blood down their face and like down their throat, like into their tunic. And they're wearing these like high waisted black pants and these like very practical boots, like combat boots almost. And they, compared to everyone else in Sword and Halo, they look like really understated, right? Like almost like you wouldn't even notice them if your eyes just glanced over them. But their face is very regal and striking, right? With those like piercing golden eyes. They like incline their head and they address Father Mother and say, "I am not worthy."
And then there's like this long, measured silence before mother father says, perhaps it is up to our guests to decide if you are worthy, my child. And there's a moment when the wings shift and Noal, my child, Kavar the Lustmaker, owner of the City of Doors, my scion, and the consort, the master of pleasures, know this. And there's a moment when the wings shift again, and then all of a sudden Chalcedonia is like behind you, and like Chalcedonia's masks is like even bigger than normal, like it reaches outwards, and these huge like Chalcedonia went the opposite direction, right?
He's got wing extensions.
Yeah.
He's got wing extensions.
Right, so this huge plumage of feathers, they're like brocade, right, as it goes down, and then these huge set of wings that like ondulate and shift, and there's like this sheer like bestial animal quality about how the wings move back and forth. There's like this roiling sense of like instinctual danger that comes off of him somehow that you've never seen in your brother before. Right, and then there's another pause before the elder of the house of Sword and Halo, and of course, my dear child, Chalcedonia, the king seeker. To my honored guests, hide your kings away from my honored son, for he shall strike them down and feed off of their blood, bringing great glory to the house of Sword and Halo. And then so like everyone understands what this means between the two of you. Right. And so you can see Kavar, there's a moment like Astra's like standing like on the opposite side, like her eyes on you, and you can clearly feel her say, I see you, my lord.
Aw, we love Astra. Astra. Yep. Kavar clears her throat, sort of like straightens her back, and mutters under her breath, so hopefully only Chalcedonia can hear. When was the last time you picked up your sword and fought, or do you just order others to seek kings for you?
I think there's a moment where Chalcedonia, like, you can see, like, clearly, like, his mouth opens behind the mask, but then he stops, and then he says, you're right, my dear sibling. It's been a long time since I picked up a sword. Perhaps tonight will be that night. And you can hear the pain in his voice.
Does he know I've kidnapped his child? Is there any move I can make? Can I tell?
Yeah, actually, if you could, we're probably going to have our first action roll.
Yeah.
To learn this information. So you want to know. So the question is, do you want to know if he knows, or do you want to like make an attempt to conceal it? I mean, it's just a matter of like action and flavor.
Oh, I want to. Oh, well, I want to just like. There's no like equivalent to like an insight check or anything, right? Like I have to do something to try to like pry it out of him.
Yeah, there is a tune. Like you can use magic to reach out to the magical energies and listen to their wisdom, right? You can use your magic that way, but you can also definitely use like one of the more social skills in order to get that information out of him.
Yeah, I could see an argument for like enticing him to sort of tricking him into revealing more than
sure.
He intended to.
I think so. I think I'm going to try to go that route. So Kavar quirks an eyebrow, right, as opening ceremonies and whatnot commence, and sort of leans into Chalcedonia and says, My, brother, color me surprised. Have you been practicing with your claymore again?
And there's a moment when he turns to look at you, and the mask, like, he starts to tease, right? Like as if he's going to take it off. He's not going to.
No, never.
Right. But he starts to shift the mask a little bit until you can see a bit, just a sliver of the flesh, right? And he says, there is a sword that is more important to me than any other. that has been stolen from my grasp.
Ah, I
Let's
see.
see.
A precious weapon.
Indeed, indeed. In the same way that you and I are very precious to Mother Father.
I think I understand. And the thief, have you found them?
No, but I think perhaps they're very, very close. So let's see that roll.
Oh God. He knows.
So I'm
Would
gonna
that count as an
say
entice or a
that
demand
is
to
that
conceal?
doesn't that counts as entice. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to
Mhm.
say normally this would be risky, but because you have the child, I'm going to say this. You're actually in a controlled position,
Okay.
right? But I'm going to say it's limited effect unless you want to use like an advantage or like push in some way to like a vassal in order to like create a standard effect instead. So right now we're looking at controlled limited.
Okay. I got a 5 is my highest roll.
Ooh, yeah. So you're okay with the limited effect, right? For now, that's okay.
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So 5 means you get that information, uh, definitely. And so, but there's just going to be from a control position. You know, it's not bad. So it'll be a partial success. I'm gonna say, there's a moment when he places his hand right, like on your shoulder, like very slowly, like finger by finger. And he says, "My dear, dear sister, have I told you how important you are to me lately? How much I adore you?"
Never, not even once.
Oh, surely a failing on my part.
One of many.
And then there's a moment where like the mask shifts and smiles for him, right? And then he says, "Perhaps from your view, but know this, dear, dear sister, I am perfectly capable of vengeance, and you shall be the one to help me guide the hand of vengeance. Don't you think?"
Whatever the King's Seeker wants, I will deliver.
So the partial answer that you have is that you know that he's aware that you had some connection to it, but you don't know if he knows that you're the one who did it. You don't know if
I
he
don't
just
know.
thinks,
He
oh, maybe
could.
we just have a connection,
Ah,
right? But he knows that you're
okay.
involved somehow, right?
Okay. Then
So there's
in
this-
that case, yep. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that terrifying answer, Ray. In that case, after saying, of course I'll deliver it, Kingseeker, Kavar also says, but one can't help but wonder if the thief who stole your weapon seeks to sell it to another buyer, to keep it for their own collection, or perhaps to destroy it out of some dark desire to make sure it never sees the light of battle again. So I would tread carefully, brother, when trying to find it.
And there's a long moment where like the mask like becomes even more blank in front of you, more golden as the gold drips down his neck. And then he says, "Yes, you would know everything about desire, wouldn't you? There's no desire too dark for you to hold in your wretched heart, my wonderful sibling."
At least I have a heart. Oh, look, Mother Father's done speaking. And Kavar's gonna clap politely.
And then there's a moment where, like, on the other side, I'm gonna say, so this is like the minor consequence. You're still in a control position, right? So this isn't a big deal yet. But you see that Astra like is in this heightened state, like knows something is up, and like on the other side, like Astra is closer now, and like Astra comes in close after Chatsedonia makes his way, like, and leaves, and she says, "Leave it to me, my lord. I can make sure that your brother will be distracted." And you sense that she's willing to put herself in danger to make sure that the secret won't be out.
Thank you, Astra, but if it comes down to it, I'd rather you cut and run. Do you understand?
And Astra looks at you and says, "But, my lord,
Promise me you'll run if things get heated.
And you really see like she grips like her hands together, like she clenches her fists. Of course, my lord, I will run.
Good. Enjoy the party.
She bows graciously and she says, "My lord, shall I bring the usual pretty things to you, or do you have other plans tonight?"
Other plans tonight, but make sure they're occupied. I know how needy they can get.
Of course, my lord, I will see to it. And Astra nods again, right? But you see like she like absolutely like trails behind Chatsedonia, like keeping tabs on
Oh
him
yeah, like a
the whole
shadow.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Like she's very good at her job. Okay, so I think we're going to switch to Ida, how do you know, even though the throne, like everyone is waiting for Mutakad to appear, and Mutakad has not yet shown up. We are vastly approaching, right, that moment when it's beyond fashionably late for the throne, the one in power over all the houses to appear. But how is it that you know, Ida, before everyone else, that Mutakad is going to make their entrance?
I think there's just like a subtle shift in the wall next to where I'm standing. That pattern where Mutakad's face kind of does the ripple, the wall starts doing that. And it's subtle, and if I hadn't happened to be looking, I might not have noticed. Because who stares at walls often? But that's the indication. It's like, oh, they're gonna walk out right there.
And so you can see it, like the hand come out first, and the hand is searching for you, like reaching for you. Ooh, right. And you can feel like Mutakad's fingers cold, so cold in your hand. And like as the face starts to like break through the wall, like rippling water and flesh shifting and moving. My love, did I make you wait long?
You arrived precisely on time, as sure you meant to be.
And then there's a moment where Mutakad comes close. Remember, you are to call me beloved.
Of course, my love.
Yes. And like so Mutakad is so intimate and really just super like hyper focused on you, but slowly all around you, everyone starts to quiet in as they turn to look towards the throne Mutakad. And there's a moment when they like nod graciously, imperceptibly towards the elder of a house of sword and halo, but they very noticeably like ignore everyone else and they're just focused on you, right? And you can feel like it's sort of like a test, right? The throne, Mutakad wants to know what you're going to do with everyone's ire so directly pointed at you, dagger sharp. And Mutakad says, "Beloved, I love the way you wear all these eyes upon you, all this greed, all this jealousy. It suits you so well."
It can sometimes, beloved. I tend to prefer to move unseen, but when needed, no qualms about being seen.
Oh, my dear, you are meant to rule it all, and I would give it to you.
Would you now?
But of course, when there is nothing but ash and despair and the end of all things, from the ashes, I will give it to you, all of it, what these foolish, foolish nobles could not hold on to.
I will keep that in mind, my love.
Yes, and then so there's a moment when like all the other elders of the houses are like giving very pointed looks, and Mutakad like gives a soft sigh I have pushed them as far as they can go, but I leave their daggers with you, my love.
I like raise our joined hands. Mutakad.
And so everyone at the same time like bows deeply towards Mutakad, the throne. Yeah, and I think like as that happens, like Eloise, like you can sense like everyone's shifting and moving around you. The party is in full display now. The
Mhm.
aerialists are like showing like the histories. You can see like from the mock like battle that they're acting out, the ribbons come out and start to turn into real blood, right? You can see like it shifts back and forth between what is real and what is illusion and what is history and what is memory and what is now as the magic like rises within them. And I'm going to ask you, because finally Google's like listening to me again, no longer
Nice.
hates me.
Sorry that it gave you so much.
It's okay.
Excellent vamping for like an hour.
I know, right, right. Um, but which aspect of one of the rituals do you want to try to angle for? Like in the, and once again, we don't have to do it right now, but just so we have a thing.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely had some aspects in mind. I want to act, gain access to death itself and empower, weaken, or destroy it.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
yeah.
That's
Do you
what
have an
I'm.
idea, or shall I provide you something?
Oh yeah, I want to find one of the gods, the statues. I want Chalcedonia to take me one of the statues, and I want to harvest the last remnants of the death god from it.
Ooh, yeah. So you do have a meeting
Yeah,
with Chalcedonia. So we can say like that's where it takes place, right? So we cut to like when we go back, like we see that's where Chalcedonia was headed to
yeah,
when he left Kavar's side, right? And so this is the same like statue, the one with like the huge moth-like wings. And there's
yes.
this it's a very like I'm just gonna be honest. I'm stealing the Witch Queen from Destiny 2 because she looks amazing.
Go for it.
Yeah, she looks. I'm just gonna like put it in the chat, like how good she looks. Um, I love her so much. Ooh, this one's a good one. Okay. Um, let's see. But basically, like as you're brought to this statue, um,
And I figure Astra has got to be watching this because she was, following Chalcedonia. So this is definitely going to get to Kavar if you didn't notice already. Like I think. Uh,
mhm.
Connie, is that cool with you? Like I want to engage with Chalcedonia in a way that like
That's totally fine.
complicates things and also.
I'm loving the
Yeah.
Destiny art in here. Sabbath.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't resist. I
that
love
is
her so
extremely
much.
metal.
The story beats were so good in the game, like really excellent. Yeah, so uh you see like these huge moth-like wings and like the crown and the three eyes and the teeth that are like bared, right? And so in this statue that was reaching out, and then but the statue's huge, right? Like Chalcedonia is
Yeah.
like seated in one of the hands as if it's like an armchair, right? And like the claws are wrapped around him, and then and like very slowly the statue moves, right, to pick you up and then bring you close as if it's another chair next to
Nice.
him. And Chalcedonia like makes a gesture, and a few of the lesser angels come like offering refreshments, of course, right? Pure light.
I'm imagining these like cherubim like flying by, like these like Cupid angels, like, oh, here you go, here's some wine and hors d'oeuvres.
It's so funny that you like thinking like puppies and like I was thinking these like twisted, beautiful angels. Like
Yeah, no, I mean we can have all of the above.
definitely no, but I like the sharp idea. I like the idea that they look very cute and sweet, but then there's like this like they all have very sharp teeth.
Yeah,
If you look
totally.
closely, like and their eyes are like pure black, right? Like pure gold, I want to say instead, like pure gold. They don't have any pupils. Yeah, and so Chalcedonia says, "My dear honored guest, I am delighted to have you, the all consumer. I understand that you have a message for me from the elder.
I do. I do. The obsidian skeleton wonders why it is that you have claimed to slay these gods and yet leave some of them, let some of them remain. And sort of like look at the statue that's like still moving and there's still something left. And that is totally not the message. The message is like I have like a message, but like I'm just trying to like get him amped up about the supposed the conquest of the House of Sword and Halo. How can you know? How can you let your foes still linger, gathering power to one day strike retribution? Why is it that you do not use your almighty weapons of heaven to destroy them once and for all?
Perhaps this is different, my dear fellow noble. But for us of the House of Sword and Halo, to keep the blades of our souls sharpened and ever ready, we would bring our enemies close, just to whisper, just to promise that perhaps they could one day come back. I did not think that the elder would have a problem with this. We did enter into accord with the House of Blood and Bone to assure them that all was in order. We have, in fact, protected certain gods as was asked of us. And so there's a moment where Chatsedonia is like looking at you and and you can see that he's trying to call your bluff, basically.
Yeah. I like it. I think I like reach my hand to my chest where this letter, maybe something as archaic as a letter, I don't know, would be. And I think Chelsea, you can kind of like just barely see as I do this, the little bit of red fabric beneath, as I go to reach this message. And I say it, I say, my Lord requires proof that your blades are as sharp as you claim as you claim them to be. Show me the show me how you fare against the Avatar of Death. And I don't know how cool this would be, but I kind of want him to fight the remnant of this dead god. I sort of want to make Chalcedonia like give me up the Avatar of Death. Like what I'm envisioning right now is that there's this giant statue, and like within it, and it's powerful and it's mighty, and within it, under its cracked surface, there is the Avatar of Death, my mother, that I want to claim and set free. So is that am I pushing for too much here, Rose?
No. This is the Twilight Thrones. This is how it works, right?
Okay.
We try to grab everything.
I don't know, like I don't entirely like Connie. You've never said that how Kavar feels, so I don't know what Kavar's relationship is. But I kind of also want to make, I don't know. I sort of want to make him possibly an ass of himself, or maybe be a triumphant great hero. Like either he's gonna look super cool to everybody, or it seems like why is this asshole like attacking a statue in the middle of our party? So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
Right.
It could very much play in Kavar's favor or against her. But yeah. So I'm basically gonna I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna say like show us your might, and then your reward will be, and then I will deliver your reward. And so I'm like holding the message, but I'm not giving it to him. And I want to demand that he fight this god statue.
Yeah. So normally you'd have to demand, right? Like as you say, which I still think has to happen. But do you want to use an advantage to like say like this is a ritual that you have to like introduce it? Like this is, you could say, the darkest secret or a prepared ritual. Like this is something he has to do in accordance with the old laws of the House of Blood and Bone and the House of Sword and Halo. right?
I love that you ask these questions, Ray, because it just makes us. It just makes us. Um, God, I want to use a dazzling costume change so bad, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, you could. You can tell me that this is a dueling costume change that that you put upon him, right? Like this is your magic, where you change his outfit. Like I really want to stress how much power you have with these advantages, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I think I touch him, and his gold is blackened. His wings turn rotten. His skin becomes translucent. He becomes. I sort of convey. I transfer the power of death to him. It isn't ailing him at all. But until he completes this task, he will not be able to return to the party and not look like some horrible angel of death that is all like translucent skin and black bones and dark feathers. So yes, I'm going to use a dazzling costume change on him. Thank you, Ray, for reminding me of that. That's
perfect. So let's see demand. Because you use the house advantage. I'm sorry, the personal advantage.
yes.
Do you want to add like right now we're looking at risky standard? I think
Mhm.
you're definitely in the right here. Do you want to use advantage to give you an extra die or to have great effect, or like what are you thinking?
I want to have great effect. I want him to. I want this to touch some part of him that feels the need to prove. I feel like he's really insecure right now. I don't know why he's insecure, but I think that he is. On a meta level, I think Sean knows that he's feeling insecure about something, and I would like this to make him feel violent. You know, when all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. I want him to make him feel like, yeah, this'll help me in some way. Like I want him to personally invest. That like, yeah, if I do this thing, no one will dare defy me. That'll resolve my problems. That's not going to help him find his kid, but I think he should. I think he should.
Excellent.
Believe
Excellent.
it well.
All right, awesome. Shall we see that roll?
Yeah. Let's do this thing. Roll 2d6. And I got a 5, which is the exact thing I wanted. It was get it with some complications.
Nice. Our favorite kind of roll.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think like as it happens, you see like what was once golden eyes, right, behind the mask, like hollow out, right, into like this bone milky color, right? And the mask turns into this like visage of death, right? It's a death mask instead that he now wears. And the like as you were saying,
I don't think I'm changing him. I'm just revealing him. I'm just showing myself. This isn't even. This is just the fucking murder monster that he is.
So good, right?
Sorry,
and then we see him like he starts to like fly, like these huge wings, like the smell of rot just comes off of him as he like lifts himself up into the air. And then we see like from his hand, he like violently pulls out the sword, and it makes this horrible crunching sound, right, as a steel against bone as he reveals it. And he says, "It will be as you say, all consumer. I will show you what the House of Sword and Halo is capable of." And then with another hand, like he pulls down like the power and the magic, like with such brutal force that you can see like the cracked god of death, like start to shudder and shake as the statue like moves and starts to shift, right? And the wings like spread outwards, and you can see it all start to fall away. And you hear Chalcedonia say, "Reveal yourself, avatar of death." And then so it is as you say, right? He's going to like duel the god. But I think the consequence of this is when you look to the side, you see your own child, right? You see that emptiness, that spark is being pulled towards the god, and the god reaches out and says, "Empty vessel, you'll be perfect for my desires."
Oh dang!
And we're gonna cut there and see what happens.
Perfect.
So next time you can decide if you want to resist the consequence or not. But yeah, okay. So that is our first part of the scheme for the Twilight Throne and the Houses of Ruin. Shall we do our outros?
Oh yes, it's that time, isn't it? My goodness, I got so excited messing with your bro there.
He's fun to mess with.
Yeah,
Right?
he paints a big target on his back.
He does.
It's
He
the
does.
ego, really.
It's
you
the
know?
ego. You just
We've all
love
got
to watch
ego.
him. You just love to watch him fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Rad. I am Sean Nittner. I use he him pronouns. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Sean Nittner. I am most excited at the moment about the current crowdfunding of Improv for Gamers second edition. It is going underway for another week or two. We've hit our goal, and we're now looking at a stretch goal, which will add a cool ribbon and some spot gloss on the cover. And then I'm really excited about the next goal, which is to pay everybody who worked on the project more, which is going to be which would be fantastic. So if you have heard that improv skills can help you build better characters, create more interesting relationship, practice your listening skills, do all the things that help you collaborate with folks together, it's true. And this book has over 35 exercises to help you do those things. It's lots of fun. They're easy to play. And I highly recommend checking it out. It's on GameFound now. That's my skinny. How about you, Connie?
My skinny is hi everyone. I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on Twitter, Itch, Ko-fi, and TikTok at ByConnieChang. That's ByConniechang. I am currently working on my own game called God Killer, which is a holy punk RPG for one GM God and one player, the God Killer. If that's interesting to you, follow progress on that at God Killer RPG on Twitter. I'm also the GM and producer for Transplanar RPG, which is an all-transgender BIMPOC-led D&D show set in Andake, an original non-colonial anti-Orientalist world. It is dark fantasy meets an extraordinary amount of queer drama and disaster. So if you like the L word, but like not 100% more diverse and apocalypse, then you'll love Transplanar RPG's main campaign, The Second Stranger. So check us out on Twitter at Transplanar RPG and follow us on Twitch at Transplanar RPG as well. We stream Saturdays at 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. With that, I'm going to hand along introductions over to Misha.
Hi, Misha B. You can find me on Twitter at BGGameworks or at my website, blackgirlgameworks.com. I'm in the midst of finishing up the dinner bodice for an Afro-Victorian cosplay that is taking entirely too long and too much of my time, but it's fun! And I bought more fabric, and we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, that's what I'm up to at the moment. How about you, Ray?
Yeah, so I'm Ray. My pronouns are they, he. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun for me. Yeah, so my biggest things that I'm excited about a lot of stuff. A lot of great stuff is happening. But the Twilight Throne is currently up for pre-order. As I am laying out this beast of a beta of a game, I realize I'm probably going to have to raise the price. So you really should get in on it right now before I do that. I was laying it out on stream on the Possum Creek Games Discord server for 3 hours, and I was like, this is a big game. I should charge a little more. So yes. But so it's available for pre-order. And aside from that, lots of great things are. Our Haunt is now available. You can buy a print copy. I hear that some copies smell like cookies or bread, something along those lines. So yeah, so I don't know how that happened. It must be a ghostly thing about the books. So Our Haunt is a cozy, creepy game of ghosts hanging out in a haunted mansion.
I started trying to read it, and I just ended up in my cozy chair with my feet up and the dog on my lap. I don't know what happened. I just was reading Our Haunt, and the next thing you know, I was just very cuddly. I had a blanket on me. I had some tea. I was remembering past scary memories. Yeah.
Aww, I love
Power
it.
of good design.
Yeah.
Power.
Perfect. Yeah, and so if you want to keep up with everything I do, you can follow me on Twitter at Temporal Hiccup. I use a lot of Sailor Moon gifs, and it's the best way to keep up with all the projects. Because like every game designer, there's a lot going on. But yeah. One more thing. I'm gonna be on a panel for Big Bad Con Online, which is really exciting, called Breaking Systems and Embodying Inspiration. So I'm really excited about that one with Josh Hiddy. So that's basically it. But thank you so much, everybody, for playing with me. I'm really excited for our next session and to see what horrible things we get up to.
Yes. Thank you, Ray, for reminding me. I should also shill about Big Bad Con. My own too many things. This is the problem.
We have a lot
We
going
have an
on.
embarrassment of riches here. But very quickly, Big Bad Online will be May 6th to 7th from 6 p.m. Pacific to 6 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be 24 hours of free-to-watch panels, and there are so many amazing folks here. We have a lot of folks that we had last year, but a ton of new people, and we're going to be hearing about different design scenes literally all over the world. We've got folks from Brazil, we've got folks from India, we've got folks from Southeast Asia, we've got folks from just so many different people that can talk about what the design space looks like for them. That I'm super, super thrilled about it, and I'm really curious to know like what everybody's doing, and we have so much of it happening. So if that sounds cool, you can attend. You absolutely can attend for free, which would be great. We'd love to have you in chat. We'd love to have you talk about it in Discord. You can also support the con by going to the Mighty Cause link on the site and help us put it on. And if you are the kind of person who's like, I want to help produce this thing, I want to be a greeter or a Twitch moderator or something like that, we would love to we have volunteer spots open as well. So yes, sorry, that was a little add-on, but I should definitely do that because it's gonna be great, and we need lots.
It's gonna be great. I'm so looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And I should probably shill Hut Cartel tomorrow at 8:30?
Oh yeah, nice.
I don't remember what times. I have to look at times. Tomorrow
I think it's 5:30 my time, so 8:30.
Yeah, so 8:30. I was right. 8:30. Okay. Yeah. We're going to be playing crime underlings in a city, working for an unknown crime boss because he's trying to keep his identity on the down low, or her identity, or their identity. We don't know. It's secret. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Anyone else? I know I did like round 2. Connie, Ray. Okay, we're good.
I'm good. All
right. This has been a blast, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
This music really is something.
It's music.